There you go.
Okay. This is the first time we're using my phone to record, and it's kind of strange.
But it's a new phone, so hopefully it'll pick up things better.
Maybe.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, and welcome back to M&K Unscripted. Today, we are doing friendship and fruit.
Should we talk about our fruit first, just for our people that love us when we talk about the food?
Yeah.
That's involved. I have a cutie in front of me right now.
I also have a cutie.
We didn't eat them before.
No.
We'll have to eat them after.
We will.
I already had 2 cuties today.
I didn't. So, I had an apple today, but nobody cares. Anyways.
What's your favorite friend of fruit?
What is your favorite kind of fruit?
That's a really, I don't know. I should have thought about that before.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say grapes are a staple. That's kind of good. I mean, apples and cuties are definitely the staple just because I always have them in the fridge because they stay good the longest in my fridge.
Mm.
How about you?
Yeah, I usually always am stocked up on bananas, apples, and clementines. But that's because those last longer. Or, like, I'll have a banana every day. But if I were really to choose a favorite fruit, it'd probably be some kind of berry. Maybe raspberries or blueberries. I do like a good grape, you know?
Green grapes or red grapes?
Ooh. Probably red grapes, but also green grapes can slap when they're, like, really good. You know?
That's true.
But I'm just a fruit girl in general. Like, I love fruit.
I can't believe you eat a banana every single day. I feel like I could count the number of times I've had a banana in the last 6 months.
They're just really good for you. We always are stocked up at home. We always have them.
They are. I feel like I'm kind of the same way with eggs. Like, I'll eat them every once in a while, and then I won't want another for, like, several weeks.
See, I have eggs in the fridge because I just made banana bread because I had too many bananas. And now I don't know what to do with these eggs, so I'm going to have to bake. We'll see. Maybe eggs
stay good for a while, though. You can keep them for a couple weeks.
True.
But I guess you'll just have to bake.
I mean, I guess.
What a problem to have.
With my bananas.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
They're like, get on. Okay. What's on your list? What do you want to talk about today?
Oh my gosh, I have so many things to talk about.
So friendship.
Yeah. Where should we start?
I don't know. Where do you want to start?
I
feel like I've picked the last couple times, so you can pick if you want.
Okay. So, I guess we can start. I feel like something very relatable throughout my time in college, and something that I've noticed a lot of the times recently, is outgrowing friendships. So I was listening to, I think you might also have listened to this podcast, Psychology of Your 20s. And I listened to it, and it was called Outgrowing Friendships. And it was talking about, like, what are signs that you've started to outgrow friendships.
Do you have the episode number?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I didn't write it down.
Okay, because I listened to one today, and it was called, It's Okay for Your Friendships to Change.
I also listened to that one.
But that's a different one?
That's a different one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, some of the things that she had talked about in this podcast was when all you ever do is talk about your past with the friendship, and you're not, like, talking about what you're going to do in the future or, like, future plans, and you're just kind of reminiscing. I feel like that's really interesting to think about because, I don't know, like, I think of some of my high school friends that, like, I don't often see. Like, a lot of the times when we'll meet up and, like, talk about things, it'll all be, like, what used to be and, like, the good times we used to have, and now, like, I don't see as much of, like, a future with these friends because I'm not, like, super close to them. I don't really talk to them very much, and all we're ever talking about is, like, the past. So, like, a lot of the times it's like, okay, I feel like they were a really good friend at the time, but now I've, like, outgrown this friendship. And so that's one of the things that has been applicable to me.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
So did the podcast say that, like, that means that you're not really friends anymore? Or it's just...
I think it's more recognizing when you're starting to outgrow a friendship.
Okay, so one of the signs is that you don't talk about future things, you just talk about the past.
Or, yeah. And then some other things where the friendship is one-sided, you no longer feel excited to be around them, you don't have things in common. All of those things are, like, signs that you've started to outgrow friendships. And I thought it was really interesting what she was saying, and also I was thinking about it in general, of that, like, it's not bad to outgrow a friendship. Like, if you think about, I don't know, it was really hard when I was, like, transitioning from high school to college and realizing that I wasn't going to be friends with the same people, or, like, when I left my job that I'd really loved in high school, like, I wasn't going to see these people for a long time. And it was, like, really hard to be like, okay, I need to make this step for myself. And that means, like, I might not maintain these friendships. And I feel like that is, like, a really painful thing. But then, like, that has happened so much throughout even, like, the past 4 years that I've started to just get used to, like, yes, I've had friends for, like, a long time, but also some people are just meant to be there for, like, that point in your life, but not, like, lifelong friends.
Yeah, I know what you mean about, like, I feel like, so we just graduated college, and I feel like we have had so many different stages of friends in the past, even, like, 6 whatever years. Like, back in high school, we had our high school friends, and then, like, we may, like, still be connected with high school friends and some, like, not, but it's just, like, a natural progression to go to college and to make college friends. And then when you graduate college, then usually people split and do their own thing, which is very, very normal, but also then you have to go through, like, finding a whole nother group of friends wherever you end up. And I feel like we have been through such a big phase of transition in the last, like, 6 years of our life that, I don't know, I thought of this the other day. Like, I kind of had to remind myself that now I'm in a stage of life where my friends won't necessarily just disappear in 4 years. Like, I feel like all the friends that I made in college, like, it was so great. And some of those friendships, like, I'll treasure forever, but it will never be the same as it was when we were all living together and we were all studying together. And that's just very different than the type of friendships I have now. Like, most of my friends have full-time jobs, and, like, some have families and are married, and it's just a very different dynamic of friendship. And I kind of forget that if I want to, like, I could be established here for a long time, and I don't have to leave after a couple years. And the friends that I'm friends with right now don't necessarily have to leave in a couple years because they're graduating college. And so I feel like that's kind of a thing that I realized lately, that, wow, like, these friends could be here for quite a while if I wanted them to be.
Mm-hmm. I heard this statistic, and I don't have a source, so you might have to look it up, but that every 7 years, you'll have a 50% different friends.
Ooh.
Like, you're not expected to stay the same for the rest of your life. Like, if you think about how different you are from, like, high school to college, and even, like, in the past 6 months, I feel like I'm such, like, I still have the same values, I still, like, feel like myself, but I've just grown so much that, like, you don't expect your friends to always stay the same. Like, sometimes you need different people that fulfill different things, and your interests are always changing. Like, yes, there are going to be people that you're lifelong friends with, but, like, it's normal to, like, make new friends and grow out of friendships and realize that, like, maybe you need something else from a friendship. So I feel like that's been helpful to recognize, as, like, a lot of my friends have moved away, or, like, I no longer see all the time because I don't live with them, or, like, I don't live in the same campus as them. And so I know that proximity is one of the main things of, like, maintaining friendships, which that's not to say, like, it can't be done if somebody lives far away, but you have to be a lot more intentional about maintaining that friendship if they don't live, like, close by you.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about the episode I listened to of the Psychology of Your 20s? Okay.
Yeah.
So I listened to it today a little bit, but it's episode 144 of the podcast. It's called The Psychology of Your 20s, if you don't know. It's a super interesting podcast. The podcaster goes into so many different, like, explanations of things, looking at the psychology of why we think certain things in our 20s, or, like, act a certain way or whatever. And so this episode was called It's Okay for Friendships to Change. And she referenced a study that was done in the 90s, and I unfortunately did not look into the study specifically. But it talked about the 4 pillars of friendship, and basically the reasons that you become friends with people. And the people in the study could predict when people are going to be friends based on these 4 pillars. So the first one, Kelly mentioned, is proximity. So it's physical closeness, like if you are roommates or if you see someone like really often, it's the frequency of seeing somebody. So if you regularly see this person, it's more likely that you're going to become friends. Familiarity was the second one, which is like the depth of connection or like how close you are to somebody. Because we all have friendships where like maybe you've been friends with them a long time, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be really good friends. And some people you meet and really, really quickly you just something and it clicks and like your friendship chemistry is just fantastic and you feel really, really close to those people. So that's what they mean by familiarity. Similarity is the third one. So that's like your hobbies and interests. So if you, like for example, I really like theater. And so when I'm in a theater production, then the people around me are also interested in theater because we're all in this production together. So that's like an example. Or like if you meet somebody at like a Bible study, like your faith is a similarity that you can share that way. And then the fourth one is reciprocity. So basically it's knowing that what you give someone in a friendship is going to be returned. So if you trust that if you're putting an effort to this friendship, that the person is also putting effort back into the friendship and shows that they want to be friends, that's something that will indicate how successful your friendship is going to be. So in the Psychology Year 20s, she talked about how a change in a friendship usually results from a change in these pillars. So I know we talked about like people moving away from college. That would be an example of the proximity. Like you still share all the same experiences that you had in college and like interests, but if you're no longer living close to them, then that makes it harder to be friends. Like you can still be friends, but it's just a different vibe, I guess. She also said that I don't know if it was her or if it was the researchers, I think it was her personal opinion that you can't really go through two major pillar changes. Like that will hurt your friendship a lot more than just going through one. So like if someone moves away and also like similarity something, or like you just have different hobbies and you don't have things in common anymore to talk about, then it's really hard to maintain a friendship.
Yeah, I really like that. I think she was saying like if two of them no longer are a thing, that you can't maintain the friendship.
Yeah.
Like, that is the end.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. I feel like it's really painful when you think about like, I don't know, because you think about a relationship and you're like, okay, like we're either going to get married or we're going to break up. Like there are only two things that are really going to happen. But like with friends, you don't expect people to grow apart. You don't expect you to like no longer be friends with them, whether that's like you just grow apart or whether there's like a friendship breakup. Like that seems in some ways a lot more painful. I don't want to say more painful because I feel like a relationship breakup would be pretty painful too, but I don't know, with friendships, like you're not expecting things to end, and so that can be like a really difficult thing, especially if it's not like a lot of people that I'm no longer friends with, it's not because like we ever had I no longer want to be friends with you. It's more of just like we grew apart, like I moved away, or we decided to not be doing like the same hobbies and not in the same sports, or like things like that, where it's like there are no hard feelings. We just mutually moved on with our lives. But it can be very different when one person like is very invested in the friendship and the other person isn't. So I feel like that can be a really difficult thing as well.
Yeah, friendship is really weird that way. Like you mentioned that when you're in a relationship, you're either together or you're not together. And we're going to ignore situationships because that's going to confuse the point. But like you have a very clear intention when you're hanging out with somebody. And then if you break up and you're most of the time just done. And like you're not talking to that person anymore. They're not in your life. But friendships, there's not like a clear cut, I'm going to break up with you now. We're no longer going to be friends. Unless you have like a really big fight or something like extreme happens where then you just completely cut off the friendship. I feel like, yeah, a lot of the times it's like a slow decline if you're losing a friendship, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. Which maybe that's why, like maybe one of the explanations for that could be like there's a change in one of the pillars. So like somebody moves away or somebody like, yeah, that's the example. Like somebody moves away or somebody, like you just don't see them as often. So then at first the friendship's like more difficult to maintain. But then like I'm thinking of even high school friends. Like it's just really difficult to maintain friendships that you had that were so close when everybody moves away and everybody's experiencing such big life changes in college when we went to college. And then I feel like, I don't know, like as you age, then you will naturally become friends with other people and like your interests will change and like your hobbies will change. And then your friends will be like other places changing their hobbies and making new friends. And it's just a lot of the times natural progression to like slowly fade out of friendships. But I also think it's fun then when you get back together and like it sounds like that's like, I know we were talking about like when all you do when you're together is like talk about the past. Like I feel like that's not necessarily like a fresh budding friendship then, but also I think it's really fun to reminisce with friends and get back together when I think about that.
Yeah, Megan and I are having our 2 college roommates come back, and we're gonna reunite for New Year's. So that's always like an exciting thing of spending time with people that you haven't seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like looking up questions when I was thinking about this podcast related to friendship, because like friendship is like one of my favorite things ever. I think recently like people are just so incredible and I just like really love friendships. And so I was curious, do you enjoy the process of making new friends? Like as we're out of college and like, yes, we still have college friends, but like you were in a musical and now you're involved in some groups in this area. Like, do you like meeting new people and building friendships?
I feel like I'd say mostly yes. Like 80% yes. I feel like it's really exciting to think about like the potential like friendship of like what your friendship will look like in the future when it's like super new with somebody. I think it's so special to like remember how you became friends with someone. Because like a lot of my high school friends, like we were in kindergarten, first grade, like when I became friends with them. Even some of them were like I met them in middle school and high school. But that, like, I don't know, I don't really remember, like, specific instances of when I met them. Even in college, like, I kind of remember. Like, I don't know, I think it's fun to think back on, like, my friendship with you, like, when we were paired as roommates in college. And, like, we have some of the receipts of, like, our first conversations over text. And so, like, that's just really cute to look back on and be like, oh, look at us, and, like, how far we've come. But I feel like now that I'm an adult with a fully functioning brain, I can really remember better, like, meeting friends and how it first happens. I also think it's really cool to see how fast you can become friends with somebody. Like, once you hit it off and, like, you really hit it off, it just, like, it's like, wow, we went from, like, 0 to 100 in, like, a matter of, like, days, weeks. Like, that's really fun.
Yeah, I think it's so fun, like the type of people that you just like automatically like connect with. And then it gives me so much hope because like I don't know, when I think about after college, like I was feeling like pretty lonely of like, who am I gonna talk to now? Like I'm not surrounded by people my age as much anymore, and like I didn't know what I was doing. And then I like meet these amazing people that I haven't like didn't even know until literally like a few months ago, and now I'm like, we just like get along so well. It's like that just gives me so much hope for like building and maintaining friendships, especially because like I feel like I've heard that the people that you meet in your 20s are like you're always meeting new people and you're always making new friendships. And like you think about it, like you're starting to be a lot more mature and like know your values. Like when you're in elementary school or when you're in middle school or high school, like you're changing so much, and like also you might be moving. Like you seem like you're a lot more established when you're in your 20s and like realizing what you want in a friendship, and like I don't know, maybe settling down and like getting to know the people in your area. And like that just gives me a lot of hope too, to like know that I can meet new people and it's like good. But I will also say I don't like making friends. Like it sounds like, yes, I love meeting new people and like I like when things go well, but when things are like awkward in the beginning, or when you don't know what to talk about, or if things don't go well and like you don't connect with somebody right away, like that feeling for me is like really just ugh, it's super uncomfortable. And so, like, in that sense, there's just, I feel like a lot of pressure sometimes to, like, feel like you need to be a different person, which now I think I'm maturing a lot more, and I honestly think that I'm being a lot more myself just when I meet new people, and just kind of being like, okay, this is me, like, you either want to be friends with me or you don't. But that wasn't always easy when I was younger. Like, I had a lot of difficult times, like, trying to make friends and, like, put myself out there. But I think now that I'm, like, stronger in, like, who I am as a person and, like, know what I want in a friendship, like, that makes it a lot easier to make friends and just talk with people, too.
Yeah, I feel like the part I don't like about making friends is the like, testing out the waters, am I going to click with this person? Because, like, sometimes you really do, and then it's, like, great and awesome. And sometimes, like, when you're becoming friends with somebody and you're getting to know them, like, just, like, for whatever reason, not necessarily, like, a bad reason, but just, like, you don't click with other people as much. And so then it's, like, a awkward, painful, trying to figure out what's going on type of vibe, which I feel like probably more happened in college. Like, the transition of, like, finding friends in college was complicated. I don't know. It's just, like, there was a lot of drama involved of, like, oh, this person's friends with this person, and oh, we're gonna go hang out with this person, and I don't know, it just, like, felt yucky. And so I feel like sometimes meeting new friends, it's, like, stressful to figure that out, of, like, the politics of it and stuff.
Yeah, and also, like, I don't know, sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to invite this person, but you want to invite them, and then it just, like, gets all complicated and messy, like, especially, I just remember freshman year of college, and it's, like, everybody was, like, trying to make friends, and we ended up being lucky of, like, we actually stayed friends, but, like, the amount of people that did not stay friends after, like, the people they met their freshman year, like, their first few weeks of college, it's, like, astounding, which it makes sense because you're all in a new place trying to connect with people, and maybe you're not, like, focused on, like, actually maintaining friendships. You just want people to talk to so you feel like you're at home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like now that there's not as much pressure to develop friendships, like, there is, because, like, I did say I felt lonely after college because I wasn't sure of what I was, like, who I was gonna hang out with, but I also knew that I had people already that were gonna have my back while I was, like, trying to also build new friendships, that I feel like takes the pressure off of, like, oh, I don't need to, like, find 10 million new people. Mm-hmm. Like, I already have people that know me and love me and, like, want to be friends with me. So that's also nice to have that.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So we talked about, like, clicking with somebody, and, like, mm-hmm. some friends you just naturally tend to be closer with, like, when you get to know them. For you, how can you tell, like, how early on sometimes can you tell if you're going to be friends with somebody or good friends, and, like, what factors for you help you determine when you're interacting with somebody if you're going to be good friends or not?
I feel like I need to do a lot of reflecting. I'm like, a lot of times I don't even remember because you don't even realize that it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, sometimes it's literally the first interaction, you're just in, like, a group of people, and, like, you're just like, I like this person. Like, I just have the same sense of humor. We, like, vibe. Like, sometimes it's not even something that you can put into words. It's just, like, some random experience where, like, they say something and you're like, that is exactly what I would have said in that situation. And then you, like, bond with them.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't really an answer, but, like, I don't know. I feel like sense of humor. Like, I'm a jokey person. I love to laugh. And so, like, if somebody is laughing with me and, like, picks up on my jokes, like, normally I'm not, like, the center of attention, I'm making big jokes, but, like, I'll just make a joke to the side, and, like, if somebody, like, picks up on that and, like, feeds off of that energy, I'm like, okay, we're gonna get along. Like, I don't know. And also, I love deep conversations, which is probably why I love this podcast. So, like, not that I need to get deep right when I meet somebody, but, like, if you're in a scenario where, like, people end up getting deep, like, if, I don't know, you're, like, going into a friend group that, like, they're all friends but you're not, and, like, you've just been invited in, and, like, they're already, like, comfortable around each other, and they start, like, having a deep conversation, like, that is the way that I get to know people. That's how I feel connected to people, is when I'm, like, vulnerable with them, or when they're vulnerable with me. Like, that's how I maintain friendships, not just the humor side. So, like,
mm-hmm.
if people are able to be vulnerable, like, that's very hard for me when I first start being friends with someone, but if it's reciprocated, then I feel like you get closer a lot quicker. Also just like hobbies and stuff, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to like a new group or something that's like centered on something like a sport or religion or something like that, like you're likely to have something in common, and that makes it easier too to like start off a conversation.
Definitely, yeah. I can tell we'd be good friends because my answers were very similar. We should be friends. Do you want to be friends?
Actually, did we ever ask each other if we wanted to be friends?
No.
Do you want to be my friend, Megan?
I'll think about it.
I'm feeling rejected.
No!
I'm gonna go need to listen to the podcast.
We're back to episode 2 of the podcast. I feel like, of course. What do you mean? Of course we're friends.
Well, you
dummy.
never said yes.
Yes, I want to be your
that's
friend.
So nice. I'm gonna start asking all my friends if they want to be my friends, and then they'll be like, "We weren't already friends."
It's
I'm like,
giving.
well, I never
Pick me.
asked. Hey.
Anyway, so I feel like, for me, most of my answers were along the same vein. Like, if you have something, like a similarity of some type in common already that is, like, bringing you together, then that's already, like, a starting point of having friends. I feel like for me, just, like, the way someone gets my attention is, like, being similar to me. Like, being weird. Like, I know we've talked about, and I've said I don't think I'm a weird person, and I think I might be changing my mind because I'm kind of weird.
You are weird.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you're in the denial stage.
Okay.
You just need to accept that you're weird. Not like awkwardly, like socially
But
weird.
see, when we had that conversation the first time, I really didn't think I was weird. But
because you were in denial.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe. But, like, I was, like, reflecting on it, and I genuinely didn't, whatever. I didn't think so. But anyway, like, I feel like someone really catches my attention, like, when they're, like, weird and just goofy. Like, I feel like a sense of humor is the biggest way that I bond with somebody. Like, if I can make a joke and somebody, like, picks up on my bit and, like keeps going with the bit, like, I love that. Like, I could do that for hours. Like, I could run a bit for hours. It's just so great. So I feel like when somebody will, like, do that without me having to, like, say it, like, I feel like I'm like, oh, like, I'm bonding with that person. Like, this is good. So I feel like that's the first thing I thought of. Definitely, like, a similar sense of humor. Not that someone, like, if someone has a different sense of humor, we won't get along, but it's just so easy. It's just so easy to be friends with somebody when they get my TikTok references and, like, all these other, like, weird random jokes that I make. And then I also feel like honesty, like, being able to, like, you said being vulnerable, but, like, being able to, like, open up and share important things about your life is, I feel like, what gets us from, like, the surface level fun messing around friendship to, like, deep, all right, like, let's have a heart-to-heart and actually be friends now kind of conversation. And so I feel like that's very important to me, which, like, that is sometimes really difficult for people. And I recognize that that's hard to open up, but I feel like having the ability to listen to people and truly listen and, like, see people, like, feeling seen really makes me value a friendship. Like, when I feel like someone is genuinely, like, paying attention to me and wants to get to know me and, like, listens to me, then it makes me want to, like, reciprocate that back.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when people ask really good questions.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, I took a class where we had to, like, it was more of, like, professional development, like, how do you start off a conversation with somebody that you've never met, like, professionally, but it also translated into, like, social situations too, of, like, how to ask a good question, like, asking open-ended questions rather than, like, how was your day? It could be like, what was your favorite part of your day? Or, like, what do you like about this specific thing? Or something where it, like, starts a conversation and people are able to, like, I don't know, people like to be asked questions. Like, I like when people ask me questions. I also like to ask questions because then I get to know the other person, because I'm like, I already know all about me. I want to know about you, you know, like, if we're going to actually, like, be friends, you know? So that's helpful too when somebody asks really good questions.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be a back and forth. Like, I love talking about myself, and I love people that are willing to listen to me talk about myself. But that is such a one-sided friendship, like, if you can't flip the coin and do it the other way. So I feel like also learning to care about other people genuinely and, like, get to know them with asking questions, I think, is a good way to get to know each other.
I feel like sometimes it's hard because, like, if somebody keeps asking me questions and I, like, get kind of nervous, I'll just keep, like, yapping. And then I'm like, I need to stop yapping and ask them a question. But, like, I don't want the conversation to die. So then I get nervous of, like, should I stop talking and ask them a question? And, like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I notice myself doing that. And I'm like, I need to chill out because I'm nervous. And I'm yapping their ear off. But I don't know. That's probably better than awkward silence, though. So.
That's true.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about, like, friendships and, like, what you first notice in a friend and, like, how you know that you want to be friends with someone. So kind of going off of that, what do you value in friendship? Like, what, in the people that you're the closest with, like, what are the things that you've noticed that you really gravitate towards and, like, want in a friendship?
Yeah. 2 words came to mind for me right away. Spontaneity and, like, adventure. Those were the same word. So maybe 3 words.
2 words. You used them up.
The 2 words. Spontaneity, adventure, and then vulnerability. So that is 3. But I feel like spontaneity and adventure are, like, the same thing. Like, I want them to be willing to, like, just be fun, which, like, sounds kind of weird. But I feel like if you are willing to, like, let's go do this thing, like, right now, and then, like, they're okay, like, switching plans and, like, let's go do this thing. Or if, like, they're willing to, like, go try new things with me. Like, that would be so fun. And I hate being bad at things. Like, lately we've gone, like, roller skating with friends, and we've gone bowling, and we've done, like, many different things that I don't normally do. And, like, I feel like those are situations where you can feel very vulnerable, I guess, like, if you're not good at something. But I feel like being a good sport about it is fun, which is something that I try to work on. Maybe isn't my biggest strength. Yeah. One time I was losing at Mario Kart and I almost started crying, like, genuinely. And I think that's a character flaw of mine, that I can't just, like, accept that I'm bad at things, because I am good at Mario Kart, I promise. But just, like, that day I was not. I was doing really, really bad. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so I feel like the sense of adventure and, like, being willing to go try new things. And then vulnerability, that kind of goes along with, like, the honesty, like, being willing to have really deep, vulnerable conversations of, like, sharing things that, like, maybe sharing your anxieties, maybe sharing, like, things that have hurt you in the past, maybe sharing, like, struggles in your life right now. I feel like the truth about us is that, as, like, okay as we try to be on the outside, like, we're never, like, 100% okay on the inside. And we need other people to help us and to bring us comfort and support and love. And I feel like if you don't share what's going on inside of you, then you can't accept love, because people don't know that you're hurting. And so I feel like that's something I try to value in a friendship, is, like, being a space to let people share, I guess, and just, like, giving them that opportunity to feel love.
I very much agree with both of those things, especially the vulnerability. Like, I don't know. I'm such a type of person that wants to understand people. And, like, when I don't understand people, it, like, there's some sort of, like, barrier between us of, like, I don't feel super, like, comfortable around you because I don't know you. Which, like, duh, when you think about it. But, like, there's just something about the fact that, like, we all have struggles, we all have pain, and we all, like, deal with different things, that, like, once you know that about somebody, like, I just feel like I have so much, like, love and respect, and, like, I can't even describe what I'm thinking in my brain right now, but just being able to truly know somebody and having difficult conversations. Not saying that, like, every single time you hang out you have to have, like, deep, vulnerable conversations, but, like, I feel like definitely having those conversations at some points when you hang out, like, definitely helps me connect with somebody. And also, I feel like what I need in friendships changes, like, depending on where I'm at in my life. Like, recently I've developed a lot of friends that are, like, Catholic and value their faith. And, like, that's not the only thing we talk about, but that is, like, part of our friendship. And, like,
the pillar of similarity,
yes,
if you will.
There you go. Reference back. And, like, I need that in my life right now. Like, that is something that I really need and, like, want. and prioritize in my life. And so, like, I need that in my friendships right now. Not saying that people that aren't at that place in their life aren't my friends, but, like, I don't know. That's something that I value in friendship. And it doesn't have to be, like, every single friend is, like, on the same page about, like, religion or whatever it is, like, sports, whatever it is. But, yeah. I feel like another thing is, I want to say adventure too. Like, going back to the skating thing. That was a fun time. And, like, making good memories. Like, I feel like I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, I just want to do fun things. Like, I just want to travel. I just want to, like, we don't even have to travel. We can go and do some bowling or do some skating, even though I, like, literally cry in the bathroom because I'm so bad at it. Like, that, it's fine, okay? It's a good memory, okay? Like, doing fun things and, like, wanting to hang out and, like, I don't know, I love, like, staying up late and just, like, talking with people, or, like, staying up late and doing fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that brings me so much joy. So I feel like if friends want to do that, then that, like, makes me want to be friends with them, I guess. Like, hang out with them.
Mm-hmm. It's giving quality time.
I mean, I feel like we talk about this on every single podcast.
Okay, well, let's not talk about it.
I'm a quality time girly, you know, which is who I am, my core, my heart, my center.
I was sick over the past, like, week and a half, and many, many nights I would, like, be either, like, in my room napping, or, like, I'd go to bed early, and, like, after a couple days, I was like, I'm sorry, Kelly, like, I feel like I'm not spending much time. And she was like, it's fine, but I'm just a quality time person, and, like, it's maybe, like, I know it's fine, but I'm kind of sad, and I was like, bro, like,
what do you
I'm
want?
sorry!
No, see,
I know.
I wasn't mad. I feel like we're, like, having...
I know. No, I feel like I needed to give you the words of affirmation, because I couldn't give you the quality time.
Yeah.
And so I gave you what I could, and then I went and took a nap. That's what I did.
But yeah, I feel like just existing with people is always a fun thing to do.
We should record a podcast of us, like, having an actual fight.
What would we fight about?
I don't know. You know, sometimes we, like, start having serious conversations, and then our friends are like, oh, mom and dad are fighting.
Yeah, and then I'm like, bruh.
And I'm like, shut up.
Stop. You're not a part of this right now.
I'm like, go to your room.
I saw this thing on Instagram today. I think I sent it to you, but I don't know if you saw it yet. But it was, like, me and my friends, like, have this game where, like, when we're at a party or when we're just hanging out, like, we give each other topics and you just have to, like, rant about them. And it could be, like, the most random thing ever. Mm-hmm. So maybe we could do that. That'd be fun.
I've seen that idea before.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Anyways, that's not related to friendship.
Ranting and rotini noodles.
Oh. Stay tuned.
Maybe not.
Anyways. Okay, I saw this really... We don't have to actually answer this question because it might be, like, actually a hot topic. But when I was researching, you know, friendship. Not that I did, because this is unscripted and I didn't prepare.
Hey, we can do a little preparation. There's nothing that says we can't prepare.
Okay, I think about this all the time. And the question was, do you think friends or family are more important? Not saying, like, okay, I know there's not, like, one right answer for this, and I don't have a yes or no where, like, this person's more important than this person. Mm-hmm. But the reason that I bring it up is because I think about this a lot of, like, a lot of my friends that I'm, like, super close with and, like, see all the time, I'm way closer to them than I am, like, my extended family. Mm-hmm. Like, I am closer to the people that are, like, I guess my chosen family. I'm closer to them than I am, like, literal blood relatives. And so I think that's such an interesting thing to talk about. So I don't know if you want to...
Yeah, I feel like, going back to the 4 pillars of friendship, I feel like that's, like, explainable of why that is. Probably because proximity. Like, unless you see your extended family a lot, but I feel like in those cases, you're probably closer to your extended family. Because also, like, I don't see my extended family very often. Even some of my immediate family, like, I don't see super often. Like, I still see, but, like, I definitely see you way more than I see them. And then, like, the similarity, like, yeah, you have similarity with your family that, like, you're literally related. Like, you have your grandparents in common. You have, like, aunts and uncles in common. But other than that, like, you might not have similar interests to your cousins. And so then I feel like it's giving, like, you only have the past to talk about.
Literally, though, like, you're reminiscing on what used to be.
Yeah. Granted, also that's, like, definitely our relationships with extended family, because I know some people are like really close to their extended family.
That's true.
So that's just both of our instances. But that's an interesting point.
Yeah, I feel like it's very different depending, like, some people that I know, like, their extended family lives within, like, a 30-mile radius, or, like, even, like, next door. I'm like, that's not the experience that I have. So, like, if you do have that experience, you're a lot more likely to be close with your extended family than you would be. Like, my extended family is kind of all over the place, depending on which side it is. And so, like, that makes it harder to, like, maintain those relationships. And also, like, bringing up your point again, like, your family, like, you don't choose them in terms of, like, your friends. You do, like, you choose them based off of, like,
That was your point.
oh, well,
Because I was
should
going to
give
say that.
myself
I was like going
pat
off
on
of
the
your
back.
point. I was like, wait a minute, that's not my point. That's your point.
nah, okay, I guess I'm just really smart. Anyways. I was just gonna say that. I was just saying that you're choosing your friends, and, like, a lot of the times it's because you have similar interests and, like, you're spending a lot of time with them, and so it makes sense that, like, you might be closer with them. But I wouldn't ever say, like, friends or family is, like, more important necessarily. Like, they're important for different reasons, and, like, you need family and friends for, like, different reasons. And sometimes people, like, say their friends are their family, or their family are their friends, like, in that way. So
I feel like you saying that they're equally important is still taking a stance.
oh, that's true. Honestly, I feel like you can't have a point blank statement with that, because people have different relationships with their family and friends. Like, somebody might be like, yeah, my family is more important because you're, like, a lot closer. Like, I don't think there's one right answer necessarily, because some people have, like, really bad family experiences and would consider their friends a lot closer or more important.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's a societal obligation to choose family. Like, when I think about, like, holidays, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to, like, go home and spend time with my family for the holidays. Like, implying that, like, that is the important thing you're supposed to choose at the holidays, is hang out with your family. And, like, I hang out with my family at the holidays, like, and not in the holidays, and I hang out with my friends during the holidays. So I don't know. I feel like I'm more on the, like, it definitely depends on your personal relationship with your family and what type of friendships you have. But
yeah. Because, like, I don't have any sisters, and so I'm, like, in some ways, like, my girlfriends that I'm really close with are, like, my sisters. And so it's, like, you kind of have, I don't know, like, a different, it's complicated. But I just saw that question and I was like, oh, this is a hot topic here.
That's interesting.
But, yeah, it is.
I feel like one of the points that I wrote down that I was just going to talk about is, like, the different levels of friendship that you have. Because I know we've been talking about, like, oh, how can you tell, like, if you're going to be, like, really good friends with someone, and what makes you, like, go from superficial friends to really good friends. But I feel like, I don't know, me personally, like, I have all different types of friendships with so many people. And some people I'll probably never be, like, super, super close with the way that I am with other friends. But I feel like it's not necessarily like, oh, wow, we just, like, didn't make it. Like, it's still okay. Like, I still need those types of friendships. Like, I still need the people that I see, like, once a month and we get lunch, and the people that I live with and see every day and text, like, a dozen times a day. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I personally need all types of friendship. Like, I really, really value the variety that I have, where I have very close loved ones, but then also I like having, like, a large network of, like, acquaintances. Sometimes it's, like, acquaintances, but even, like, more distant friends, I guess.
That was one of the things that I was thinking of, too, like, in terms of, I feel like we've had this conversation a lot about, like, how many friends you should have, or how many friends you want, or, like, having a big group of friends versus a small group of friends, and, like, so it seems like, based off of that, you prefer to, like, well, I don't want to say quantity over quality, because that is definitely not true for you, but, like, you also appreciate quantity.
I do. I feel like we're different in that way, where I'll speak for myself and you can speak for yourself, but, like, I feel like when I'm in a social situation, I really value having, like, deep conversations with a small number of people, so I can, like, become close with people, but also I really value big groups of people where there's a lot of people, where I can just, like, float around like a little butterfly and, like, talk to a bunch of people. which that's the extroverted side of me, being like, I just want to see everybody and talk to everybody. And
yeah, I think it depends though, because I wouldn't necessarily say that I am different, because if like I'm thinking about like big groups of people that I know a lot of the people, then yes, I want to talk to a lot of people. But I will say, like, sometimes, maybe this is just a me problem, but sometimes when I have like too many like close friends that I'm trying to maintain friendships with, like, I get overwhelmed. And like that's always like a good thing, because then it's like you have a lot of people you're trying to maintain friendships with. But especially when it's like not just like one friend group, where it's like people from like different areas of my life that don't all know each other, like sometimes I get overwhelmed with like trying to maintain all of those friendships. And like obviously it's a good thing, like you want to have these friends, but I don't know, I do really, really value quality, and at the same time, like, knowing a lot of people is awesome as well. But like I struggle to be vulnerable right away if the other person isn't. And so like having like a small group of people, or like I don't know, it's just easier for me to like really invest in those friendships and like spend quality time and like be vulnerable, because sometimes like if there's so many people, then I get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I can think of a situation we were at a couple weeks ago where it was a big event, but there were like opportunities to like be at like tables with smaller amounts of people, and like you wanted to stay at the table and talk to like our friends, and I wanted to like get up and go like talk to new people. And so that was like, there's nothing wrong with either of them, it's just the difference of social situation, I guess.
Yeah. And I don't know, and so like I feel like for a long time I've been like hard on myself for that, of well, just go up and talk to a new person, it's not that scary. But like it's really scary sometimes to like put yourself out there and like talk to somebody that you don't know. And so I feel like now I'm kind of being more of like, that's okay, like if I want to like stay with the people I know, but also like challenging myself to put myself out there and talk to new people. And I feel like it's less overwhelming if it's just like a group of like one person or two people, rather than like a huge group of people you don't know. Like that makes me very nervous. But if it's just like, or if I know one person and then I'm like meeting a group of people, then it's, I feel like, okay, I know this one person, now I can talk to like this other person on the other side of me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That makes it easier for me to, like, I'm not the type of person that usually just goes up to people and is like, hi, my name's Kelly, nice to meet you, you want to be friends? Like, that's just not me.
I don't do that either. That sounds scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I wanted to talk about one last thing, maybe, unless you had something that important you wanted to talk about.
I mean, there's always more things to talk about. But...
Okay. I feel like I wanted to talk about, like, for people that are in a transition similar to ours, where we had friends and then you are in now a new situation, whereas us, we graduated college and now we're in a new situation where, like, Kelly and I know each other, but before that we didn't really have people in the area we're in. Or maybe you, like, recently moved, and just, like, talking about, like, how to find friends post-college, because I feel like that's an anxiety that some people have in college, of, like, where am I going to meet people when I'm outside of college and I don't have classes and activities and stuff to meet people. So I don't know if you have... I could pose that as a question for you, or I could keep talking. Like,
I didn't know if it was a question or not.
Yeah, so, like, where do you think are good places to, like, make friends out of college?
At the club. I'm just kidding. That's just a prank.
I mean, you could at the club.
You could. Honestly, I feel like there's not a one-size-fits-all. Like, it really depends on what you're looking for, I guess. Like, maybe evaluate what is important to you and what do you need in this time of life. Like, what do you want? And for me, like, religion was something that I really wanted to invest more time into. And so I was like, okay, well, let's just, like, look into groups that maybe religion is, like, the center of why these people hang out or something like that. And so, honestly, like, with social media and, like, the internet, like, looking things up and, like, looking up groups of people in your area or opportunity, like, maybe you want to volunteer somewhere, or maybe you want to join, like, a sports team, like, or maybe you want to join, like, a community theater or, like, a community orchestra or something like that. I feel like is a good way for me. Like, I like going to places that are already established and, like, meeting the people there rather than, like, just talking to someone on the street or something. I don't know. I don't think people do that anymore, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, finding something evaluating in yourself, like, what do I want? What do I want to explore? What have I wanted to do for a while? Like, do I want to learn how to bowl? Do I want to join, like, a bowling league or, like, something like that, where you can, like, have, like, a common thing that you all enjoy in this group, but also, like, meet new people too.
Yeah, I feel like that's basically what my answer was going to be. I feel like we purposely chose a geographical location that has more opportunities than some in the surrounding area, just because there's more people. And so I feel like there are opportunities to find things. Like I've said for a million times, like, I love theater, so I found a community theater and I found fantastic friends. I really want to join a volleyball league. So if you're listening to this and you know who I am, please invite me to your volleyball league, because that's something I really want to get into. Yeah, I feel like those are, like, the faith is a good example. Like, I feel like a lot of churches, if that's your jam, like, if you want to get involved in, like, some type of young adult group, I feel like those are becoming more popular. I don't know, I hear about them more than I used to, but maybe that's just because I'm becoming the age of a young adult. Might be, but I feel like there are opportunities to meet people if you look for it, which I know that's really scary, but you're not going to meet people in your basement. If you want to meet people and you're not, like, making effort to, I would recommend you put yourself out there more, which is very scary, but very rewarding.
For sure. Especially with the people that you just click with right away. Sometimes all it takes is just, like, the initial step.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is sometimes the hardest part for me, is, like, just doing it and putting myself out there. Because, like, once you do it, then you're like, oh my gosh, I did that. Like, yeah, it's not as scary as I thought it was.
Yeah, and people are very receptive, in my experience, to, like, even if you think it's, like, the kind of awkward situation, like, they're probably looking for friends too. Mm-hmm. And so if you, like, even go up and say hi, or, like, ask to sit at a table of people for whatever you're doing, like, I feel like people are very kind. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've had to do a lot of introducing myself in the past, like, 5 years. Like, hi, I'm Kelly. What are you? Who are you?
What are you? Why are you?
Why? How are you? Oh, wait, that's an actual question. Sorry.
That's embarrassing.
Anyway, too bad people are going to have to hear that.
Yeah, well, that kind of sounds like a fun way to end it. This is a longer episode.
It is.
Yeah.
That's because there's a lot to talk about when you talk about friends.
There are. Friends are so great. We could go on.
We could.
But I don't think we will.
No. We'll end it here, friends.
Yeah. Right here. Right now. We love you all. Thanks for listening.
Bye.